Captain Sarah Chun stood at the bridge of the U's Harmony, watching the massive space station grow larger on the screen. The Galactic Council's main station was huge, bigger than any city on Earth. Ships from 12 different alien species moved around it like busy insects. Sarah felt her heart beat faster. This was humanity's first real chance to join the galaxy. "Captain, we're getting a message from the station," said Lieutenant Torres from his position at the communications desk. His voice was nervous but excited. "Put it through," Sarah said, trying to sound calm. She had trained for this moment for 3 years, but nothing could really prepare someone for talking to aliens. The screen flickered and showed a tall, thin creature with blue skin and 4 arms. Its voice came through the speakers in perfect English, though it sounded cold and bored. "Human vessel, you are cleared to dock at Bay 7. Do not deviate from the marked path. Any violations will result in immediate destruction." Sarah smiled. "Anyway, thank you, Control. We're honored to be here." The alien on the screen didn't smile back. The connection ended without another word. Dr. James Park, Earth's lead scientist on the mission, walked up beside Sarah. He was carrying a metal case that held some of humanity's greatest discoveries. "Friendly bunch," he said quietly. "They're probably just being careful," Sarah replied. "We're the new species here. We have to prove ourselves." The Harmony docked smoothly at the assigned bay. Sarah looked at her team of 20 humans. They were the best Earth had to offer: scientists, diplomats, engineers, and doctors. Each person had volunteered to represent all of humanity. "Remember," Sarah told them, "we're here to make friends and share what we know. Show them that humans want to help make the galaxy a better place." The airlock opened, and they stepped into the station. The gravity felt different, a little lighter than Earth's. The air smelled strange, like metal and something sweet Sarah couldn't name. The corridor was wide enough for 10 people to walk side by side, and the walls glowed with soft light. A group of aliens waited for them. Sarah recognized the species from the files Earth had studied. There were the Keth, who looked like giant lizards walking on 2 legs. Their leader wore what seemed to be military clothes, covered in metals. Next to them stood the Zephyrians, who looked almost like humans, but with silver skin and no hair. Their clothes were expensive looking, covered in jewels and bright colors. "Welcome, humans," said the Keth leader in a deep, rumbling voice. "I am General Vorthik of the Keth Hegemony. This is Trade Minister Zalara of the Zephyrian Collective." Sarah stepped forward and bowed slightly, the way Earth's diplomats had practiced. "Thank you for meeting us. I'm Captain Sarah Chun, representing Earth and all humanity. We're grateful for this chance to meet you." General Vorthik's eyes were yellow and cold. They reminded Sarah of a snake's eyes. "Yes, we have heard about your species. You are very young, very new to space travel. Tell me, Captain, what can such a primitive species offer to the Great Galactic Council?" Sarah felt her team stiffen behind her, but she kept smiling. "We may be new to space, but humans have learned much on our home world. We'd like to share our knowledge and learn from yours." Trade Minister Zeel Ara stepped forward. Her voice was musical, but somehow felt fake. "How generous of you. Show us what gifts you have brought." Dr. Park opened his case. Inside were 3 devices that represented humanity's best work. He lifted out the first one, a small silver scanner about the size of a book. "This is a quantum medical scanner," Dr. Park explained. "It can find diseases inside the body without surgery or harmful radiation. It can detect cancer, brain problems, heart disease, even genetic disorders before they start causing symptoms." Several aliens leaned forward to look. Sarah saw interest in their eyes, but they tried to hide it. The second device was a small cube that glowed with soft blue light. "This is a clean fusion reactor core," Dr. Park continued. It produces massive amounts of energy with no dangerous waste, no radiation, no pollution. It can power a city for 100 years with fuel the size of a marble. Now the aliens were definitely interested. Sarah noticed some of them whispering to each other in languages the humans couldn't understand. The third device looked like a silver sphere with rotating rings around it. And this is an atmospheric processor control unit. It can clean the air of any planet, even ones damaged by war or industrial accidents. It turns poisonous gases into clean air that any species can breathe. General Vorthik picked up the medical scanner and turned it over in his large hands. Interesting. Very crude, but interesting. You said you wish to join our council? Yes, Sarah said. Humanity wants to be part of the galactic community. We want to explore space together, share knowledge, and help each other. The aliens looked at each other. Sarah couldn't read their expressions, but something felt wrong. The way they looked at the human devices reminded her of how some people looked at expensive things in a store window. The Galactic Council is not something species simply join, Trade Minister Zilara said. There are rules, tests, requirements. Many species have tried and failed. We understand, Sarah replied. We're willing to do whatever it takes. General Vorthik handed the scanner back to Dr. Park. Very well. The Council will consider your request. However, space is dangerous for such a young species. There are pirates, hostile aliens, cosmic storms, many terrible things that could destroy your people. We appreciate your concern, Sarah said. Therefore, the general continued, if the Council decides to help you, we will need to protect Earth. Your ships will stay in your home system while we ensure your safety. And of course, protection costs resources. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine, but she kept her diplomatic smile. What kind of resources? Trade Minister Zelara's smile was sharp. Technology, mainly. Information. The devices you showed us today would be a good start. In exchange, we will keep the dangerous parts of the galaxy away from your innocent people. We'll need to discuss this with our government on Earth, Sarah said carefully. Of course, General Vorthik said. Take all the time you need. But remember, Captain, space is vast and full of dangers. Without friends to protect you, humanity might not survive long enough to regret refusing our generous offer. The aliens led the humans to guest quarters on the station. The rooms were nice, but felt like prison cells. Sarah noticed there were no locks on the doors, but she also noticed armed guards in the corridors outside. That night, Sarah sat in her room writing her report to Earth. She tried to choose her words carefully. The aliens seemed interested in helping, but something felt wrong. They talked about protection and friendship, but their eyes were cold and calculating. Dr. Park came to her room with a worried expression. Captain, I ran some scans while we were talking to them. Those aliens have technology far beyond what they showed us. Medical devices, weapons, communication systems. They're much more advanced than they're pretending to be. What do you think they want? Sarah asked. I think they want our technology without giving us anything real in return, Dr. Park said. And I think they're used to getting what they want. Sarah looked out the window at the alien ships moving around the station. They looked sleek and powerful, like sharks in dark water. Earth's ship looked small and weak next to them. Send the report to Earth, she decided. Tell them everything we've seen and learned. Let the leaders decide. But deep in her heart, Sarah already knew what would happen. Humanity was alone in a galaxy full of predators who saw them as easy prey. The question wasn't whether Earth would agree to the aliens' demands. The question was how long humanity could survive once the galaxy learned how weak and trusting they really were. Outside her window, alien ships continued their endless patrol. like guards making sure their new prisoners didn't try to escape. 5 years had passed since humanity's first meeting with the Galactic Council. Dr. Marcus Webb walked through the research station on Kepler 442b, checking on the latest batch of sick Zephyrian workers. The irony wasn't lost on him. Humans were using their own medical technology to heal aliens who had stolen that same technology months ago. Dr. Webb, we have another delegation arriving from the council, said his assistant, Dr. Lisa Chun. She looked tired. They all looked tired these days. Marcus sighed and put down his medical scanner. The same scanner design that Dr. Park had shown the aliens 5 years ago was now being sold across the galaxy as Zephyrian Innovation Model ZX7. The price was so high that most species couldn't afford it. Except the humans who had invented it weren't seeing a single credit from those sales. What do they want this time? Marcus asked. They're calling it a cultural exchange program, Lisa replied. They want to study human behavior and biology. For better cooperation, they say. Marcus felt his stomach turn. Every few months, the council sent these delegations. They always asked for the same things: access to human research, samples of human technology, and detailed information about Earth's population. They gave nothing useful in return, just promises about future cooperation and mutual benefit. The delegation arrived in the afternoon. Marcus recognized the lead scientist, a tall Keth named Dr. Zorthic. She had visited 3 times before, each time asking more personal questions about human genetics and psychology. Dr. Webb, she said in her deep, scratchy voice, thank you for meeting with us again. The council is very interested in learning more about human culture. Of course, Marcus replied, though he didn't mean it. What can we help you with today? Dr. Zorthic pulled out a tablet covered in alien symbols. We would like detailed genetic samples from your research team. Blood, tissue, neural scans. It will help us understand how to work better with humans. Marcus frowned. Genetic samples? That seems very personal. What exactly do you need them for? Scientific research, Dr. Zorthic said quickly. To study human biology and find ways to improve. Medical treatment for your species. We want to help humans live longer, healthier lives. It sounded good, but Marcus had heard similar promises before. The last time the council had asked for human research, they had used it to develop new mining equipment that they sold for huge profits. The time before that, they had taken human agricultural techniques and used them to transform dead worlds into profitable farms. Always for the council's benefit, never for humanity's. I'll need to check with Earth Command first, Marcus said. Dr. Zorthic's yellow eyes narrowed slightly. Dr. Webb, surely you understand that cooperation requires trust. The council has been very generous to humanity. We protect your ships. We allow you to use our space stations. We share our knowledge with you. Marcus almost laughed. The council's protection meant human ships couldn't leave their own solar system without permission. The space stations they were allowed to use were run-down facilities that the aliens no longer wanted. And the knowledge sharing was always one way, with humans giving and aliens taking. I understand, Marcus said. But I still need approval for something this sensitive. Dr. Zorthic looked angry, but she controlled herself. Very well. But remember, Dr. Webb, the galaxy is a dangerous place. Species that don't cooperate with the council often find themselves facing unfortunate accidents. After the aliens left, Marcus sat in his office thinking. He had been noticing patterns over the past 5 years. Every major human innovation ended, up in alien hands within months. The quantum computers that Earth had developed were now being sold as Keth military technology. The new food production systems were marketed as Zephyrian agricultural solutions. Even the improved space engines that human engineers had designed were now powering alien cargo ships. But it was more than just technology theft. Marcus had been talking to other human scientists and diplomats, and they all reported the same thing. The aliens were studying humans very carefully. They asked detailed questions about human psychology, human weaknesses, human fears. They wanted to know how humans made decisions, how they could be influenced, how they could be controlled. Marcus pulled up his secure communication link to Earth. The message would take several hours to reach home, but he needed to warn someone about what he was seeing. Earth Command, this is Dr. Webb on Kepler Station. I'm sending you my observations about Council behavior over the past 5 years. I believe they are not acting in good faith. Recommend immediate review of all cooperation agreements. He attached his files to the message, including recordings of conversations with Council delegations and copies of their requests for human data. Then he sent it through the encrypted channel that Earth had set up for sensitive communications. 3 weeks later, Marcus got his answer, but it didn't come from Earth Command. It came in the form of Keth security forces breaking down his door at 3 a.m. Dr. Marcus Webb, said the lead officer, a massive Keth with scars across his face. You are under arrest for espionage against the Galactic Council. Espionage? Marcus said, still half asleep. What are you talking about? You have been sending unauthorized communications to your homeworld, the officer said. Communications that contain classified Council information. This is a serious crime. They dragged Marcus out of his room in handcuffs. Other human scientists watched from their doorways, too scared to help. Marcus realized with horror that the aliens had been monitoring all human communications. The secure channel wasn't secure at all. The trial was a joke. Marcus was brought before a council tribunal where 3 alien judges had already decided his fate. The evidence against him was communications that the council themselves had recorded. His crime was telling Earth the truth about what the aliens were doing. Dr. Webb, said the lead judge, a Zephyrian with cold silver eyes. You have violated the trust that the council placed in your species. You have stolen classified information and sent it to unauthorized parties. I was reporting to my own government, Marcus protested, about actions taken against my own people. The council is your government now, the judge replied. Humanity agreed to council protection and oversight. That means council law applies to all human activities. Marcus felt his blood turn cold. When had humanity agreed to that? He thought about the original agreement that Captain Chun had signed 5 years ago. The language had been confusing, full of legal terms that the aliens had insisted were standard diplomatic phrases. Had Earth unknowingly signed away their independence? I sentence you to 15 years of labor on the rehabilitation facility at Karkinos, the judge continued. Perhaps this will teach you the value of loyalty to the council. Karkinos was a prison planet that the council used for political prisoners and criminals. Marcus had heard stories about it from other species. Most prisoners didn't survive more than a few years in the mines. As they led him away, Marcus thought about his message to Earth. Had it gotten through before the aliens caught him? Did anyone on Earth know what was really happening? The transport, shipped to Karkinos, was full of prisoners from different species. Marcus found himself sitting next to an elderly Vorthan named Kellex. The Vorthans looked like large, furry bears that walked upright. What are you in for, human? Kellex asked in broken English. I told my government that the council was lying to us, Marcus replied. Kellex laughed bitterly. Same as me. Same as most of us. Council doesn't like truth-tellers. How long have you been fighting them? Marcus asked. My people? 20 years? First, Council offered protection from pirates. Then protection became control. Then control became slavery. Now Vorthan. Homeworld is Council mining colony. My people work in their own mines, making Council rich. Marcus felt sick. How many species has this happened to? All of them, eventually, Calyx said. Council finds young species, offers friendship and protection. Then they take everything. Technology, resources, people. Always the same pattern. Why? Doesn't anyone stop them? Calyx pointed to the other prisoners around them. We try. Council stops us. Prisons like Karkinos are full of species who tried to fight back. Marcus stared out the small window at the stars. Girth was out there somewhere, probably still believing that the Council was their friend and protector. His own people were probably working on new technologies right now, excited to share them with their alien allies. They didn't know that. Every innovation was making them weaker and the Council stronger. Is there any hope? Marcus asked. Calyx was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke. Maybe. There are rumors. Some species are organizing, working together in secret, waiting for the right moment. What kind of moment? The moment when Council makes big mistake, when they push too far, too fast. Council is confident now, maybe overconfident. They think they have crushed all resistance. Marcus nodded slowly. He thought about humanity back on Earth. They were smart, resourceful people. They had survived ice ages and wars and plagues. Maybe they would figure out what was happening before it was too late. But as the prison ship carried him toward Karkinos, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was walking into the same trap that had caught dozens of other species. The Council had perfected their system over centuries. Ambassador Liu Wei stood in the great council chamber, feeling very small. The massive room was designed to make visitors feel unimportant. 12 different alien species sat in raised seats that towered above the speaking platform where Liu stood alone. Their eyes looked down at him like he was an insect that had wandered into their meeting. Honored members of the Council, Liu began, his voice echoing in the huge space. I come before you today to discuss the situation in the Tau Ceti system. General Vorthik leaned forward in his seat. The massive Keth looked even more intimidating than usual, his metals glinting in the chamber's bright lights. Yes, let us discuss this situation. Your species has established an illegal military outpost in Keth territory. Liu felt confused. Military outpost? Honorable General, we have only a small research station studying the star's radiation patterns. 12 scientists and their families. No weapons, no military personnel. Research, Trade Minister Zalara said with a cold laugh. Is that what you call it? Your people are clearly studying our defensive positions, mapping our patrol routes. This is obvious preparation for an attack. That's not true, Liu protested. Our research is focused entirely on stellar physics. We've shared all our findings with the Council, just as we always do. Another Council member spoke up. Liu recognized her as Counselor Thek of the Altarian Republic. Ambassador Liu, your species has become increasingly aggressive in recent months. First this illegal outpost, then your refusal to provide the genetic samples we requested. Liu's heart sank. Dr. Webb had been right to refuse those samples, but his arrest had sent a clear message to Earth. Cooperate completely or face consequences. The genetic samples were a sensitive issue, Liu said carefully. Our people needed time to consider the request. Time you used to plan this military expansion. General Vorthik rumbled. The evidence is clear. The research station in Tau Ceti is positioned to monitor Keth fleet movements. Your people have been sending encrypted messages that our technicians cannot decode. Most damning of all, your station contains equipment that could easily be converted into weapons. Liu knew this was nonsense. The research station had basic laboratory equipment and computers. Nothing that could threaten anyone. But as he looked around the chamber, he realized that facts didn't matter here. The Council had already decided what they wanted to believe. If you have concerns about our research, Liu said, we would be happy to allow Council inspectors to visit the station. Inspectors? Councillor Thek laughed. So your people can hide the evidence while they prepare? No, Ambassador. The time for inspections has passed. General Vorthik stood up from his massive chair. The Keth hegemony formally accuses the human species of aggressive expansion and violation of galactic peace treaties. We demand immediate withdrawal from Tau Ceti and all other systems beyond your homeworld. But we never signed any peace treaties, Liu said desperately. We only signed the protection agreement. The protection agreement includes clauses about territorial integrity, Trade Minister Zalara said smoothly. Perhaps your people should have read the document more carefully. Before signing, Liu felt the ground disappear beneath his feet. The protection agreement had been hundreds of pages long, written in complex legal language that combined terms from 12 different alien cultures. Earth's lawyers had tried to understand it, but the Council had insisted on immediate signing. For security reasons, they had said. I request time to consult with my government, Liu said. Request denied, General Vorthik said. The evidence will be presented to the full Council tomorrow. A verdict will be reached immediately. Liu left the chamber knowing that the trial would be meaningless. He spent the night writing desperate messages to Earth, trying to explain what was happening. But he suspected his communications were being monitored. Everything he said would probably be used against humanity in the mock trial. The next day, Liu sat in the defendant's chair while Council prosecutors presented their case. They had videos of the research station that made it look sinister and threatening. They had intercepted human communications that they claimed were coded military messages. They even had witnesses, other alien species, who testified that humans had been asking suspicious questions about Council defenses. Liu knew the witnesses were lying. He recognized some of them as Council employees. But when he tried to cross-examine them, he was told that questioning the credibility of Council witnesses was itself a crime. The worst part was how the other Council members reacted. They weren't even pretending to take the trial seriously. Some were reading documents about other business. Others were talking quietly among themselves. A few seemed to be playing games on their personal tablets. When Liu's turn came to defend humanity, he stood up and spoke from his heart. Honored Council members, my species came to you in friendship. We shared our knowledge freely because we believed in cooperation between different peoples. We have never threatened anyone. Our research station studies stars, not military positions. Our people want only to learn and to help others learn. General Vorthik yawned loudly during Liu's speech. Trade Minister Zel Ara was filing her nails. We have given you our best technology, Liu continued, his voice growing stronger. Our medical devices have saved alien lives. Our energy systems have powered your cities. Our terraforming tools have restored dead worlds. In return, we asked only for friendship and the chance to explore the galaxy peacefully. Very touching, General Vorthik said when Liu finished. But friendship does not excuse aggression. The evidence is clear. The vote was 12-0. Guilty on all charges. The human species will immediately withdraw from all star systems beyond their homeworld, the Council declared. They will submit to enhanced monitoring to ensure compliance. Any further violations will result in more severe penalties. Liu felt numb as he returned to his ship. The Council had given humanity 72 hours to evacuate all their colonies. 72 hours to abandon 5 years of work and the dreams of thousands of colonists. He sent the message to Earth with shaking hands. Within hours, evacuation. Ships were racing toward the human colonies. The largest was New Eden, a farming world where 3,000 humans had built a new life. They had only started to terraform the planet, but it was becoming beautiful. Rolling hills covered with earth crops, clear rivers full of fish from their homeworld, forests where earth trees grew, next to native plants in perfect harmony. Liu watched on his ship's screens as the evacuation proceeded. Families loading their belongings onto crowded transport ships. Scientists destroying years of research rather than leave it for the council to steal. Children crying as they said goodbye to the only home they had ever known. The hardest part was the cemetery. New Eden's colonists had buried their dead in a grove of oak trees brought from Earth. The families couldn't take the bodies with them, so they had to leave their loved ones behind. Within 60 hours, New Eden was empty. The last ship lifted off just as Keth military vessels arrived to secure the area. Liu thought the humiliation was over. He was wrong. Within days, alien news broadcasts across the galaxy were making fun of humanity's cowardly retreat. Talk shows featured comedians mocking human diplomats as weak and stupid. Popular entertainment programs portrayed humans as bumbling primitives who thought they could play politics with their betters. The worst was a show called Galactic Neighbors that featured actors dressed as humans. They wore exaggerated costumes that made them look ridiculous, and the plots always involved the human characters misunderstanding simple situations and making fools of themselves. The laugh track played every time the fake humans spoke. "Look at the silly humans," the alien characters would say. "They think they can be space explorers, but they can barely tie their own shoes." The show was broadcast on thousands of worlds. Children across the galaxy grew up thinking of humans as galaxy's comic relief, but the real insult came a month later. Liu was still on the council station when he received reports from Earth's intelligence services. Keth ships had moved into the abandoned human colonies and were strip mining them for resources. New Eden was the worst. The Keth had cut down the oak grove where the human dead were buried. They were digging up the ground to harvest rare crystals that the human settlers had considered sacred. The crystals were beautiful, but worthless for anything except decoration. The Keth was turning them into jewelry for wealthy aliens to buy. They were literally selling pieces of a human cemetery as luxury accessories. Liu requested an emergency meeting with the council to protest this desecration. He was told that the council's schedule was full for the next 6 months. That night, Liu sat in his quarters, writing his final report to Earth. His hands shook as he typed. "The council never intended to treat us as equals," he wrote. "From the beginning, they saw us as resources to be exploited. Our technology, our colonies, our very dignity, everything was just something for them to take and use. We tried diplomacy because we believed others would be reasonable if we were reasonable. We were wrong." As he sent the message, Liu looked out his window at the alien ships moving around the station. They looked confident and powerful, like predators who had just finished a successful hunt. Admiral Elena Rodriguez walked through the underground facility beneath the Swiss Alps, her footsteps echoing in the metal corridors. Most people on Earth didn't know this place existed. Even fewer knew what went on here. The sign on the door read, "Project Damocles, authorized personnel only." "Admiral, we've been waiting for you," said Dr. Sarah Kim, the project's lead scientist. She looked tired but excited. "We have significant updates from all 3 projects." Elena nodded. For 8 years, ever since humanity's first contact with the Galactic Council, Earth had been running secret projects. The public knew about humanity's diplomatic efforts and technology sharing. They didn't know about the insurance policies. "Let's start with Looking Glass," Elena said. Dr. Kim led her to a room filled with computers and screens showing alien text. "We've been intercepting council communications since day 1. Every message, every order, every private conversation between council members. They think their encryption is unbreakable. They're wrong, very wrong. Human mathematicians cracked their codes in the first year. We've been listening to everything they say about us. Dr. Kim pulled up a file on her computer. Here's a conversation between General Vorthik and Trade Minister Zalara from last week. Elena read the translation on the screen. Her blood went cold. The humans have outlived their usefulness, General Vorthik had said. Their technology development has slowed. They have no more major innovations to steal. Agreed, Trade Minister. Zalara had replied, but their population is still large. Too large for effective control. I have a solution. Our biological weapons team has completed their work on the human-specific plague. We can reduce their numbers to a more manageable level. Perhaps 10 million survivors to work in the mines. Excellent. How soon can we deploy it? 6 months. We need time to position our fleets around Earth and prepare the occupation force. Elena felt sick. She had known the Council was hostile, but she hadn't expected them to plan genocide. How long have they been planning this? She asked. According to the intercepts, about 2 years, Dr. Kim replied. They've been studying human biology since Dr. Webb's arrest. The genetic samples they requested weren't for medical cooperation. They were for weapons development. Elena took a deep breath. Show me Project Prometheus. They walked to another section of the facility. This one looked like a combination of laboratory and machine shop. Human scientists were working on alien devices, taking them apart and putting them back together. Every piece of Council technology we could get our hands on, explained Dr. Park, the lead engineer. We've been reverse engineering everything. Their ships, their weapons, their computers. The results are interesting. Interesting how? Dr. Park smiled grimly. Their technology is advanced, but it's also old, very old. They haven't made major innovations in centuries. They just steal ideas from younger species and improve them slightly. He led Elena to a workbench where a Keth weapon was disassembled. This plasma rifle is based on technology they stole from the Altarians 50 years ago. The Altarians developed it from Vorthan research from 100 years before that. The Council doesn't invent anything new. They just take and modify. What does that mean for us? It means we've been thinking differently than they do. Human engineers have been improving on their designs in ways they never considered. We've made their weapons more efficient, their computers faster, their ships stronger. In many cases, our versions are better than the originals. Elena felt a spark of hope. How much better? See for yourself. Dr. Park led her to a testing chamber where a human-built device was mounted on a stand. It looked like a Council plasma cannon, but sleeker and more compact. Council version takes 10 seconds to charge and fires one shot every 30 seconds. Dr. Park explained. Our version charges in 2 seconds and fires continuously for 5 minutes before overheating. He showed her other examples. Human computers that processed information 10 times faster than Council versions. Human shields that could absorb twice as much damage. Human sensors that could detect ships at 3 times the range. They underestimated U.S., Elena realized, completely. They thought sharing a few pieces of technology would keep us busy for decades. They didn't expect us to understand and improve everything so quickly. Elena smiled for the first time in days. Show me the crown. Jewel. Dr. Park's grin was almost evil. Follow me. He led her to the most secure part of the facility. Inside was something that looked like a simple computer terminal, but Elena knew it was much more. Every piece of technology we shared with the Council. Dr. Park explained every medical scanner, every fusion reactor, every atmospheric processor. They all have hidden features that the Council doesn't know about. What kind of features? Remote access backdoors, hidden shutdown commands, secret monitoring systems. We can control any device based on human technology, no matter who's using it now. Elena stared at the terminal. You mean we can turn their own equipment against them? Not just turn it against them. We can make their medical scanners release targeted toxins. We can make their fusion reactors overload in controlled explosions. We can make their atmospheric processors release clouds of nanobots that disable other technology. And they have no idea? None. They were so busy stealing our technology that they never bothered to study it carefully. They just copied the designs and mass-produced them. Every council world, every council ship, every council facility is full of equipment that we can control. Elena felt a chill run down her spine, but it wasn't fear. It was anticipation. There's more, Dr. Kim said. Project Looking Glass has been tracking all human technology in council hands. We know exactly where every device is located. We have detailed maps of their infrastructure, their military bases, their government buildings. We also have assets, added Colonel James Wright, walking up to join them. He ran the human intelligence networks that most people didn't know existed. Every cultural exchange, every diplomatic mission, every trade negotiation, we've been placing people throughout council space. What kind of people? Sleeper agents. Scientists who stayed behind to work on joint projects. Diplomats who remained as liaisons. Engineers who were hired to maintain human-built equipment. They've been quietly gathering information and waiting for orders. Elena looked around the room at the three project leaders. How long have you been planning this? Since before first contact, Colonel Wright replied. President Martinez knew that any species advanced enough for interstellar travel could be dangerous. She ordered contingency plans for every possible scenario, including genocide, especially genocide. Dr. Kim pulled up another file on her computer. We've been watching council history for patterns. This isn't the first time they've done this. In the past 300 years, they've absorbed or destroyed 47 different species. Always the same pattern. Offer protection, steal technology, eliminate the original species. Why didn't we warn the public? Because the council was watching us, Colonel Wright explained. Any sign that we knew their true intentions would have triggered an immediate attack. We needed them to think we were naive and helpless until we were ready. Elena looked at the evidence surrounding her. Years of careful preparation, hidden from both the public and the aliens. Humanity hadn't been naive at all. They had been patient. Are we ready now? She asked. Dr. Park nodded. Our weapons are ready. Our defenses are prepared. Our agents are in position. Most importantly, every piece of council infrastructure that depends on human technology is under our control. What about Dr. Webb? Colonel Wright smiled. Marcus escaped from Karkinos 3 weeks ago. He's been organizing resistance movements among the other species the council has oppressed. Turns out a lot of aliens are tired of council rule. Elena felt pieces clicking into place in her mind. The council thinks they're about to launch a surprise attack on a helpless species. They're half right, Dr. Kim said. It will be a surprise attack, but humanity won't be the one getting surprised. Elena walked to the window that looked out over the facility's main floor. Hundreds of humans were working at computers, preparing weapons, coordinating with hidden agents across the galaxy. They moved with quiet efficiency, like people who had been preparing for this moment for years. When do we expect them to move? Elena asked. Our intercepts suggest they'll begin positioning. Fleets within the month, Colonel Wright replied. The biological weapon deployment will follow shortly after. Elena nodded. Then we don't have much time. How long to activate all our contingencies? All human technology in council space can be turned against them in seconds, Dr. Park said. Our sleeper agents can begin sabotage operations immediately. The resistance movements Dr. Webb has been organizing are ready to act. And our own defenses? Earth's orbital defense platforms came online last week, Dr. Kim replied. The council doesn't know they exist. They think our only defenses are the small patrol ships they've seen. Elena looked out at the stars through the facility's window. Somewhere out there, alien fleets were preparing to attack Earth. They expected to find a peaceful planet full of naive humans who would surrender without a fight. Instead, they would find a species that had been preparing for war since the day they learned they weren't alone in the universe. General Vorthik stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Keth destroyer Iron Fang, watching Earth grow larger on the main screen. Around him, a fleet of 300 console ships moved in perfect formation toward humanity's homeworld. The largest invasion force in galactic history, assembled to crush a single primitive species. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the surface," reported his communications officer. "Probably their surrender," Vorthik said with a laugh. "Put it through." The screen flickered, and the face of a human woman appeared. Vorthik recognized her from the intelligence files. Admiral Elena Rodriguez, commander of Earth's pathetic little defense force. "General Vorthik," she said calmly. "I am Admiral Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Fleet. I'm calling to offer you one chance to withdraw your forces and leave our system peacefully." The bridge erupted in laughter. Even Vorthik couldn't help but chuckle at the human's boldness. "Admiral Rodriguez," he said, "you have 12 ships. I have 300. Your planet has no defenses. My fleet could turn your world into glass within hours. I suggest you surrender now and spare your people unnecessary suffering." "I see," Rodriguez replied. "So you're refusing our offer?" "I'm ending this conversation," Vorthik said. "You have 10 minutes to broadcast your unconditional surrender to all human settlements. After that, we begin the biological bombardment." "I understand," Rodriguez said. "Thank you for making this choice, General. You've made what comes next much easier." The transmission ended. Vorthik turned to his weapons officer. "Begin charging the plague delivery systems. Target the major population centers first." "Sir." Charging initiated. "Weapons will be ready in 8 minutes." Vorthik smiled. The humans would die quickly and quietly. The biological weapon would spread across their planet like a plague, killing 90% of the population within weeks. The survivors would be too weak and scattered to resist when Council forces landed to establish mining operations. "Sir," the communications officer's voice was sharp with alarm. "We're receiving thousands of transmissions from across Council space. Emergency signals from every major world." "What kind of emergencies?" Vorthik demanded. Before the officer could answer, alarms began screaming throughout the ship. The lights flickered, and several computer consoles sparked and went dark. "Engineering report," Vorthik shouted. "Sir, our fusion reactors are overloading. All our human-built technology is malfunctioning." Vorthik felt cold fear creep up his spine. Human-built technology? The medical bay is releasing toxic gases. The atmospheric processors are producing acid clouds. The computer systems are turning against us. Across the fleet, the same thing was happening. Every ship equipped with technology stolen from humanity was turning into a death trap. Medical scanners were electrocuting patients. Fusion reactors were building toward critical overload. Computer systems were broadcasting the location of Council fleets to every resistance movement in the galaxy. How is this possible? Vorthik demanded. His science officer, a Zephyrian named Keltar, was frantically working at her console. "Sir, the humans must have built hidden controls into their technology. They can activate it remotely, then shut it down. Cut power to all human-derived systems." "We can't, sir. These systems are integrated into everything. Life support, weapons, navigation, communications. Without them, the fleet is helpless." Vorthik watched in horror as his mighty invasion force began to tear itself apart. Ships were losing power, and drifting out of formation. Others were sending distress signals as their own equipment attacked their crews. The Iron Fang was holding together better than most, but even his flagship was struggling. "Sir, incoming transmission from Admiral Rodriguez," the communications officer reported. "Put her through," Vorthik snarled. Rodriguez appeared on the screen again, but now she wasn't alone. Behind her, Vorthik could see what looked like a military command center filled with humans working at computers and tactical displays. "Hello again, General," she said pleasantly. "I trust you're beginning to understand your situation. What have you done?" Vorthik demanded. "We've activated the true capabilities of human technology," Rodriguez replied. "Every medical scanner, every fusion reactor, every computer system you stole from us over the past 8 years. They were all designed with hidden features that only we can control." On the tactical display behind Rodriguez, Vorthik could see red warning lights appearing across a map of council space. Hundreds of worlds, thousands of facilities, all reporting system failures. "This is impossible," Vorthik said. "Our scientists examined your technology thoroughly. Your scientists saw what we wanted them to see," Rodriguez explained. "They were so eager to steal our innovations that they never bothered to understand them completely. Every device we shared with the Council was essentially a remote-controlled weapon waiting for our signal." Another officer ran up to Vorthik with a report. "Sir, we're receiving word from the homeworld. The capital city's life support systems have failed. The orbital defense platforms are attacking our own ships. The mining facilities are releasing poisonous gases." Rodriguez continued as if she hadn't heard the interruption. "Your biological weapons won't be effective either, General. We've been monitoring your research for years. We developed countermeasures before you even finished designing the plague. You were listening to our communications? Every word, every plan, every secret meeting. Human mathematicians cracked your encryption codes 8 years ago. We know everything about Council operations, Council technology, Council weaknesses." Vorthik felt his world crumbling around him. The humans hadn't been naive victims. They had been playing a game that the Council didn't even know existed. "What do you want?" he asked finally. "Justice," Rodriguez replied simply. "For 8 years, the Council has stolen from us, humiliated us, and planned our genocide. You turned our colonies into mining operations and our sacred places into jewelry. You made entertainment programs that mocked our children. You imprisoned our scientists and threatened our entire species with extinction." The tactical display behind her showed more warning lights. The Zephyrian homeworld was reporting massive system failures. Keth military bases were going offline one by one. Even the Council's main station was losing power. "But we're not like you," Rodriguez continued. "We don't plan genocide. We're not going to destroy your worlds or enslave your people." Vorthik felt a moment of hope. "Instead," Rodriguez said, "we're going to do something much worse. We're going to tell the truth." The main screen split to show broadcasts being transmitted across the galaxy. Recordings of Council meetings were alien. Leaders laughed about exploiting younger species. Files showing how the Council had absorbed and destroyed dozens of civilizations. Evidence of planned biological warfare against multiple worlds. "Every species in the galaxy is seeing this," Rodriguez explained. "Every world that the Council has oppressed, every population that has been forced to work in Council mines, every civilization that has been told they need Council protection. They're all learning what the Council really thinks of them." Reports were coming in from across Vorthik's fleet. Rebellions had broken out on over 100 Council worlds. The Altarian military had declared independence and was attacking Keth bases. The Vorthan resistance movement had captured 3 major mining facilities. Even some Zephyrian colonies were refusing to follow Council orders. "Your empire is collapsing, General," Rodriguez said. Not because we destroyed it with weapons, but because we showed your own people what you really are. This is an act of war, Vorthik shouted. No, Rodriguez replied calmly. War is what you plan to do to us. This is justice. More alarms were sounding throughout the Iron Fang. The weapon systems were offline. Life support was failing. Half the crew was dead or unconscious from their own equipment turning against them. Sir, reported the navigation officer, human ships are approaching. 12 vessels, but they're not like anything in our intelligence files. Vorthik looked at the tactical display. The human ships were sleek and powerful, obviously built with advanced technology that the Council had never seen. They moved with perfect coordination, surrounding the crippled Council fleet. Those are our real warships, General, Rodriguez explained. The patrol boats you've been watching for 8 years were just for show. We've been building a proper military in secret. Impossible. We would have detected construction of that scale. You would have if we had built them where you could see. But humans are good at hiding things underground, underwater, in asteroid fields. We've had 8 years to prepare for this moment. The human ships took positions around the Council fleet, but didn't fire. Vorthik realized they didn't need to. The Council ships were already dead in space. Their own technology turned against them. What happens now? Vorthik asked. Now you leave, Rodriguez said. You take your broken fleet and return to what's left of your territory. You tell the surviving Council members that humanity offers a new deal. What kind of deal? The kind where everyone gets treated fairly. No more exploitation. No more stealing technology. No more enslaving younger species. The galaxy gets a real democratic government where every voice matters. Vorthik laughed bitterly. And if we refuse? Rodriguez smiled, but there was no warmth in it.